shaker.
Okay, on today's podcast, we are going to be talking about mindset and how to deal with stress, how to deal with the daily grind, and what we do in order to push forward.
Yeah, in the business world and when you're trying to make money in real estate, business, whatever, you got to have a certain level of mental toughness to deal with, like, stuff's going to come up, right? And in my experience, I work with a lot of first-time investors and seeing myself grow and whatnot. The stuff that really gets to people is a lot of times it's really small stuff, really small stuff that gets people like totally derailed. So you've obviously made it pretty far in your business world and real estate portfolio. I don't know. How do you deal with stuff? What's some of the stuff that's come up for you that you've really had to plow through or that almost knocked you off track or whatever?
So what's interesting, I think, is how people will see what I've done or what I have or whatever and think I have some sort of like secret recipe, or I meditate, or I like, I
last person that I would think meditates.
I don't fucking do that shit at all. Or I reflect, or like I read books, or
some secret sauce.
Yeah, like they think I have some sort of weird thing that I do to be able to deal with it, and I just don't. I don't, and I arguably don't even deal with it well. I honestly just like I freak the fuck out. Like Jesse knows, and these guys know. Like I'll fucking go nuts, and then I go into like
panic mode, maybe.
I wouldn't say panic mode. I'll go on like extreme defense or offense or whatever needs to get done, and I almost borderline put blinders on, and it like consumes me, and then I just like plow through it.
Love it.
Love it. And I don't, I almost like it almost like consumes me. It's really weird. And then I just get through it until I just make sure I focus on it and I get through it until it's done.
And you've been doing that for 10 or 15 years. So for anybody listening to this, like, problems don't stop you. They don't derail you. They don't get you off track. They don't get you to sell your investment property because you had a leaky toilet. They don't get you to give up your business goals and dreams.
No. And I almost like lost my train of thought there when you were talking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you fucked me up there. I can't remember what I was going to say, but I arguably, sometimes think that might not be the best way to handle things. Sometimes I think maybe it might be better to take a breather and step back and then like really evaluate it. But, I have good people with me now that, are able to maintain a level head, where sometimes I'm not able to. But what I was going to say is, I don't put things on like the back burner. I'm completely
head on.
Yeah, I completely. If someone's like, this happens a lot at work where I'll get a text message and somebody will be like, "Hey, I really got to talk to you. When are you available, motherfucker? I'm available now. If you're gonna send me, if you're gonna send me some shit like that, you're gonna talk to me now. I'm not waiting like until 2 weeks or I'm not waiting an hour." Because I can't get the shit off my mind and I can't focus on anything else because I don't know what the fuck's going on in the background. So I'm dealing with it now.
Yeah.
I am not waiting. I can't not deal with stuff right away.
Yeah, well, you see it in almost every business or even in real estate. When you defer things that you're supposed to take care of, it ends up costing you more money in the long run because stuff just burns even further to the ground sometimes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good way of putting it. So, certain mental fortitude and just taking care of business. Now, I don't know, like, what do you see? You have a lot of people that contact you. I deal with a lot of young people getting into the game. I see some stuff consistently, but do you see a certain mentality that's not like that and that holds people back? Any tips on that front for people that are just kind of getting into this world and trying to develop some thick skin?
I think it's learned and
developed.
Developed. I don't think that you can just, because I didn't have this before. I wasn't like this. I wasn't as cutthroat as I am now. I wasn't as thick-skinned as I am now. You have to develop this, and you almost develop this from getting like fucked over. Like,
well, there's
seriously.
a great quote. The more you burn, the more you learn. Yeah. The quicker you burn, the quicker you learn. And that's really the only way to develop that skin is to, when you get calluses on your hands, it's from continuously lifting heavy weights or whatever the case
sure.
is. It's the only way to get calloused.
Yeah, and for sure. And some people have said that I'm, a little bit ruthless in business. And it's not because that's a conscious decision that I made. It's literally because...
Here's the thing. You might come off as ruthless, but really you're just getting stuff done.
Yeah.
And it like you're to the point. Yeah. That's a business mentality. Yeah. And I think other business people would understand that. Like I would understand that. Okay, nothing personal here. It's just business. Get to the point. Get this done. Yeah. People on the outside might be like, "Oh, he's callous," or he's some business, whatever.
Some business people have said that too about me. Like, but it is what it is. And when you have a certain level of experience and you've had a certain gone through certain experiences, you don't. It naturally develops. Yeah, it just naturally develops, and you don't. Yeah, and I'm tired of the bullshit, and I'm not interested in it anymore. So if you want to call me ruthless, then go right fucking ahead.
Hey, here's one thing though. Like I know you deal with a lot of stuff. You got a lot of businesses going on. I don't hear you complain ever.
Oh, like you don't work here.
No,
right, Jesse?
And but I guess I hear a lot of people complaining. They just have a complaining attitude about small things. It just doesn't get you very far. And I love the one book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the top things is just don't complain. Just shut up and suck it up. Don't complain. Yeah. I try really hard. You don't hear anything from me about my properties or about the issues that I have. It's not worth complaining about. You just deal with it. Yeah. Right. And I think that would be a good piece of advice for people. And then, like a little bit of experience. I had one of my clients call me up. He closed on a property 6 months ago. He had a sewer backup. Somebody flushed something down the toilet. And he was pretty upset about this sewer backup. And, I understand it's his first property.
What happened? Did it go through the basement and everything? Is that what happened?
Yeah, something like I think it was just clogged, and then it started coming up in the sinks and whatever. So they had to come and get it healed.
Yeah,
right?
Okay,
and
well, that's not a big fucking deal.
Right, but to him it was. And I understand, like, hey, me as a beginner investor, it would have been a big deal too. But to me, it's like, okay.
Backflow preventer.
Yeah.
Everyone, get those motherfuckers installed. Yeah. No matter what you have.
And I guess my point is that, like, wow, to me, it was such a small deal, but to him, it was like, okay, he hasn't developed that thick skin yet. Like, get it healed, move on with your life. That place is going to make you $1 million over 25 years. Don't worry about it, pretty much.
See, me, I have a problem with that. And the reason why I have a problem with that is because naturally, shit fucking pisses me off. Like, I'm just being honest, right? Like, I will complain.
About what?
Just dumb shit. But what happens is it's like, it's not just like, oh, my this day my sewer backed up. It's that this, and this.
Yeah.
It's like 25 fucking fires in one day. You know what I mean? So it's not, and it's nonstop. So you have to develop you have to develop a very strong mental, even physical and emotional fortitude to be able to deal with this kind of stuff. And I put up a story yesterday on my Instagram where yesterday was just like, I was at work till, probably around 11. And it was just one of those fucking days that I had enough. Like, it was one of those days where I know that it's days like yesterday why not everyone has their own business. It really was. Like, it was. Can you
give me an example of a couple things that popped up? Is it supplier issues?
No, I can't even really talk about it. It was like a business kind of like, I'll tell you off the fucking
dispute
podcast
kind of stuff or whatever.
Stupid and just a couple other things coming up with some real estate shit and even some positive stuff. But it's fucking mentally draining. It really is. Like, I put together that deal in Florida for that really big deal. And
sounds awesome, by the way.
Just going back and forth negotiating it's fucking tough. Like, it's mentally draining a little bit because then you got this bullshit blowing up on one side, and then you got this super positive thing. And then yesterday I picked up a new car. Like, it was just a fucking crazy day.
Busy day.
And then like at like 10:30 at night here, I'm just literally at my desk here, just being like, holy fuck. Like, I'm just drained. Like I felt literally drained. And the one thing that I will tell people is this, the one thing that I can say, you in order to help you develop the ability to help you deal with this, the long hours, the emotional stress, the mental stress, all that stuff, is to become physically fit. And the reason why I say that is because when you're physically fit, you're mentally fit, and then you're also emotionally fit. Working out helps you stay strong mentally. It helps you stay strong emotionally because it helps control your hormone levels. So all that shit, when you're physically fit, nutrition, like all that stuff comes into play, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Fitness and nutrition, whatever. Fitness in general, it doesn't matter. Like if you're taking your physical fitness serious, you're also taking your nutrition. You can't. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's one thing that I've always preached to people is get your fucking shit straight. Get your physical fitness in check, because everything else will fall into place. And the reason why that's also super important is because if you can control how you look, how strong you are, and what you put in your mouth,
the rest is a little bit easier.
Like,
could have worded that differently.
I should more so. If you can control what you eat, okay,
that's better.
That's a little bit better. But if you can control that stuff, then look at Jesse. Look at him fucking laugh over there. He's all fucking, he's fucking dying laughing. I can see his fucking head bobbing, like laughing. If you could control that, then it makes everything else easier, because controlling that stuff will allow you to build so much empowerment in your life.
It takes a lot of discipline to work out 3, 4, 5 days a week and eat healthy. Like, that's self-discipline.
It's very it's very difficult in this day and age to actually look at food. Like, shitty food and unhealthy shit is around us nonstop. It's not like
Uber Eats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like if you're like a fucking crackhead and you kind of take yourself out of that environment. It's easier to take yourself out of like a crackhead environment. Arguably, I've never been a crackhead or anything, but I would imagine if you're into like that kind of shit, it's easier to take yourself out of that versus like, how many times you drive down a street and see McDonald's, Burger King, all this other kind of shit. And I'm not saying I don't eat that every once in a while, but at the end of the day, you have to control it, right? So it's so easy to go down that road and consume it. Like, it's just, it's in your face, non-fucking stop. Then you go to your family gatherings, or you go wherever out with your friends, and then, everyone else is eating, you're not. So what the fuck are you doing, Dan? Like, why aren't you eating that shit? Like, what are you, a fucking weirdo? No, actually, I just want to look and feel a certain way. And, you go to a wedding, like, people shit talk you or whatever because you're, what do you care so much about like this? Motherfucker, I want to look a certain way and I want to feel a certain way. So it's in your face nonstop. And it's also not also just present. People will project their inability to do it onto you and make you feel stupid.
Love it. And just like in everything else.
Exactly. Just like everything else. So saying no and being like, no, this is why I'm doing this is outrageously empowering to me. And that's why I will cycle onto diets and going into like in the summertime or springtime, going into like extreme healthy dieting, because it or even like when I'm actually feeling a little bit kind of like maybe drained or even a little bit kind of unmotivated, I'll actually go into that mode to help motivate me into other aspects of my life. Health and fitness has been one of the things that when I take that because I've taken that serious, it spider webs and spreads into every other aspect of my life.
Love it. Yeah. I think one thing too, like when you have an end goal in mind, like when your goal is to like be a certain weight and a certain level of fitness, you almost have to have that goal to stop you from eating that crappy food, right?
Sure, of course.
And in business, right? If I have a goal of owning 100 properties, I better be able to deal with the issues of this one, and then I better be able to deal with the issues of 2 and 3, right? So that end goal is what can drive you towards putting up with the BS in the middle, right? And if you don't have that end goal, or if it's not big enough or strong enough, I don't know. A lot of people are going to fall off.
I truly believe that you want to take something as like one of the most difficult things in life is doing that. Like literally, like looking at yourself and having a goal saying, this is how I'm going to look. This is what I'm going to eat, and I'm going to accomplish this goal.
Seriously.
It's one of the fucking hardest things ever.
Might be harder than some of the business stuff.
100% it is. 100%. So that's what I would say is one of the biggest things that I would advocate is get your physical fitness and your nutrition in check and do whatever the fuck it takes. The fucking information's free out there.
Yeah.
Like it's absolutely free. You don't need anybody telling you what to do. There's plenty of apps, there's plenty of this, there's plenty of that. But get your shit in check. And not only get it in check because it'll also build confidence. All those other things. But get it in check because this podcast is about, success and how to build that. This will help.
It's a direct
correlation. It has a direct effect
to every other area of your life. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely does.
Yeah. So let's tailor this towards real estate. This is a real estate focused podcast. I guess our point here is the mindsets that it takes to operate in real estate. Like right now, we're in a super competitive market all across Ontario. It's filtering into the US. Like it's getting difficult to operate in real estate.
Yeah.
I keep having people, I had a call with a new investor yesterday. And the first thing he said to me is, well, I don't want to be involved in any bidding wars. I said, well, you're going to be on the sidelines for possibly another decade, right? Like why? Like I love bidding wars. It tells me that we're in a competitive market with a long ways to go towards the upside because there's not enough houses. I love it. I don't want to go to a dead market. I want to be in the game. Like you don't see Jordan in Game 7 saying, oh, I don't want any competition.
Yeah.
Like he's out there loving that. Like he's, that's
he thrives
the game.
on it.
Yeah, he's thriving on it. So a competitive market, I've seen it scare people out, and I think it's just a really weird mentality, almost like afraid of competition, if that makes sense. But operating in this market, you're trying to make your way into Florida with Coachwood Capital or all across the U.S. What mentalities are you seeing that you have to bring over there, right? Because it's getting a little bit more difficult. Yeah, it's getting tighter.
Like, let's be honest, the reason why he's saying that is because he wants the easier road, right?
100%.
Fucking so do I.
Yeah.
I want to eat Big Macs and sit on my fucking couch all day. What the fuck, right? But that's not going to get anything done. So I get the mentality, but at the end of the day, it's not going to accomplish anything. So making my way down to the US with Coachwood and everything,
so many hurdles.
Yeah, you have to push forward. So for me, it's not about, again, like from what I mentioned in the beginning, you have to be able to develop the mental toughness and the emotional toughness and all that stuff. The mental
I love what you said about barriers to entry. You look for high barriers to entry.
Yeah,
like I don't want to. It's going to stop that person that just called me with that mentality. It's going to stop all those people, which is 90-something% of the population.
99%, 99.99%.
Seriously, 99.9% of the people won't do it.
For sure.
So all you have to do is smash through a couple walls.
Exactly. But to smash through those couple walls, you have to be, again, physically, mentally, and emotionally strong.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. When you want to develop this thick skin, this callous attitude, this business mentality, you have to put yourself in situations consistently and deal with them consistently to develop it. Like you say, you're not going to get it from a book or from YouTube.
No.
Because this is internal, right? And that internal can only be done individually, right? Yeah. And so many people are like not putting themselves in any situations.
Yeah.
Like that competitive, I'm not going into anything with multiple offers mentality is a really the wrong mentality.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, like you know me, like I wasn't like, remember all before, like we were going through some shit or whatever, and like we weren't like this. Like this doesn't come natural to me.
Good point.
This isn't like a natural thing
this
to
is
me.
Developed.
Right? This is absolutely developed. And again, maybe this might be a different topic for a podcast or whatever, but like you and I, we both threw each other with something else, but we both decided to throw ourselves in the fucking lion's den because we were tired of living a certain way. And that was it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It wasn't anything else. I was tired of this and I said, fuck it. I realized that I need to change and nothing's going to stop me at this point to change. And that was it. And I made a conscious decision to change.
Yep.
There was nothing else. There was no fucking secret. There was it. That was it. And then, you know, we went through some stuff and we, you know, did some, you know, I guess, you know, digging or whatever. And we came to the realization that, hey, listen, like we can read we could read about certain techniques and we could read about certain things all we want. But at the end of the day, if you don't put them to use, you're not going to get anywhere. So
it starts with one move.
100%.
That first move is the hardest, right? Like for me, it was buying my first property. Yeah. That first one was tough. And then you start to manage, you're like, okay, not a big deal. Then the second one.
Yeah.
And then it gets easier and then you develop, you learn to deal with these things.
Exactly. And then for me, when I first got into, you know, real estate, it was more about like, literally, like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? I dropped out of school. I didn't have anything else. Everybody had degrees and everybody had a great education. And it's really easy to force yourself to do things when you don't have plan Bs. It's so fun. Like, think about this. You had a job. Yeah, exactly. You had a job for how long and you were complacent?
11 years.
Right? And you were, that was the case because you had a plan B.
That was my plan A.
You had a plan. You had something that was.
It was handcuffs. It keeps you shackled.
Yeah, like it's really, easy to really not walk away, right? So but for me, it was easy to go the other way because there wasn't any other options for me. So I've always been the type of person where I never like the you know, the stressful parts of business. Like who the fuck does? Like it's awesome when you get through them and you come out, you know, glowing on the other side. But when you're going through the shit, it's tough. And I would rather not have to go through the shit. And who the fuck would want to go through the shit? Nobody wants to go through the shit, but you fucking have to.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, here's a philosophy for me. Tell me if you agree or not. But when there's no shit to go through and you're just relaxing, it's kind of like I need something to do, right? Like I need a challenge. I need something to press against me. I need to push myself to another level. And then you're going to actually end up seeking out the next challenge because that's what life is all about, right? Like I always use the analogy. If you're playing a sport, say if you're a good hockey player, do you want to go play against 8-year-olds and just dominate? You want some equal competition, right? Because that's what makes it fun.
So something interesting that I will say is I have noticed that when I become complacent in my business, and I kind of get comfortable. I've had this happen maybe 2 or 3 times over the course of like 10 or 12 years. When that ends up happening, literally shit hits the fucking fan. Like literally something will hit the fucking fan so hard and just completely fucking floor me. Okay. That it literally, like, I don't know if it's like the universe putting me back in check or fucking something. But at the end of the day, every time I have become complacent, something's fucked me up.
Interesting.
And I made a promise to myself where I will do whatever it takes to continuously push forward, no matter what the fuck it is.
Yeah, I love this quote. If you stay in the game, you don't have to get in the game, right? Yeah. If you stay on your game, if you stay in the zone, if you come to work every day, maybe those things, you know, you've gotten ahead of them and they don't happen or whatever the case is. And if you get lax, you know, you're gonna slip off, and the universe is gonna probably let you know in one way or another, right?
There you go.
So let's wrap this up with basically how do you deal with stress? It might be a little bit different than how I do, but how do you deal with the crap that comes up throughout your day that helps you get through and ultimately to your goals?
So I don't think I like deal with it. Well, I don't do obviously I deal with it. But I don't do things consciously to like help myself deal with it. I fucking pound it out head on. And I want to deal with it head on. I want to deal with the issues head on.
So you deal with things immediately.
I deal with things immediately and directly.
That's absolutely. One way. Okay. Yeah. What else? What other tips do you have for somebody?
And like Jesse was just saying, like we laugh like all day. like that, if it wasn't for that, I think like, and we actually have like a really good time at work here. Like the crew that I have here is great. We have a lot of fun. Like Jesse, like we're laughing like all day. Like we're joking around all day. If it wasn't for that, this would be a lot shittier.
So like, a team of like-minded people that help you.
Yeah. A light environment at work. Environment, very light. Fun. Yeah. Funner environment. Easygoing people. It's hard to be. Imagine I have been in scenarios where I had, top level employees that worked side by side with me that produced a lot, like a stressful work environment for me.
Good point.
I really did. And it was very stressful. It was extra stressful. Very much so extra stressful. Another thing that I would say that is a little bit helpful that I've noticed is I don't work where like my daily work day is not located like myself. I do not work where my daily operations are. I actually remove myself from where my daily operations are, and I give my managers a little bit of autonomy to deal with smaller issues. What I did notice when I was there and present, they would come to me nonstop for the smaller little issues.
Interesting. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, which obviously when you're being brought way more issues, even if they're not difficult issues, if you're constantly being inundated with negative issues nonstop all day long, it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, right? So that was something that I actually realized that was probably a little bit helpful for me. Delegation and actually removing yourself a little bit from, the operations. Now, again, we probably have, 60 people over there. So it's not like it's going to be hard for you to remove yourself if you're
just starting out.
Yeah, if you're starting out or you're the only man.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. No, you shouldn't. Yeah. I this just started happening and I'm pretty deep into this, obviously, at this point. So that was something that I noticed was slightly helpful was definitely delegating and having a pretty good level of confidence in the people that I brought in to be able to handle those type of scenarios.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So you focus on the higher level stuff.
Yeah.
Bigger problems, but maybe less of them.
100%.
Bigger money problems.
Yeah.
Less.
Exactly. I think another. Well, how do you deal with what have you dealt with?
Yeah, I don't know if you're the same. Tell me, but I just nothing gets to me. Internally, it just doesn't get to me.
Definitely not the same.
Yeah, I don't complain.
Yeah,
you're not going to hear about this problem or that problem.
Yeah.
I do follow the same path as you. I deal with it directly, and I deal with it immediately, and then it's out of my mind.
Yeah.
And then I'm on to the next thing, and I'm on to building the higher level stuff. I stay high level, and I delegate low level stuff. Right? I'm not going to fix a leaky toilet anymore. My handyman's going to do that. I'm worried about my next deal. So there's a little bit of delegation, and I always think long term. Is this leaky toilet or clogged sewer line going to matter in 25 years? Right? Is this $3,000 fix going to matter when this property makes me $1 million in the next 25 years? So I balance everything out over the long term, and that helps me just chill.
Yeah. So I'll touch on that. So, obviously I have a lot of property. I don't get rocked in my real estate business.
Rocked in terms of emotionally or mentally?
Yeah, that rarely happens, knock on wood. It rarely happens where something will happen and it'll rock me with regards to the real estate. I don't remember, the last time I got rocked, to be quite honest. It's the other businesses that rock me because there's so many, real estate is a little bit less involved, I guess. It's
you just don't want to say it passive. It is.
I'm not going to say
relative to your business.
I don't want to say it's passive because my business is my real estate business is not. I treat it like a business, and that's the way I feel like you should. But there's definitely less involvement with regards to that than there is,
running a team of 60 people.
Man. Like there's, I got Health Canada. I've got 60 employees. I've got health and safety. I've got human resources. I've got large multi-million-dollar clients breathing down our neck. I've got, Costco, Rexall, large Canadian brands. Like it's crazy. Like it's a completely different animal. Like we're talking, it's different. It's a very different animal. And there's certain things in those businesses that are, it'll rock me.
How do you deal with that when you get rocked?
The same way. I just deal with it head on and fucking push forward until the issue's dealt with.
Love it. So you don't quit.
No, you
don't quit.
No. No matter how, no matter and I'll go on the defense, like complete fucking defense mode, like savage defense mode, or I'll go completely savage offense. That's it. I have to turn into a monster. When in those scenarios, I turn into a monster. That's it.
Until it's dealt with. And then I go back to, smaller monster, I guess. Apparently. Yeah, so
I'll go into fucking savage mode.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway here
is... You saw that one time when that was...
you lost it.
Yeah,
you lost it. I was sitting from the outside and I was like, I would deal with this a different way. Like, I don't think it would get to me that way. So there's no one way to deal with anything. Yeah. The point is that you deal with it. It doesn't stop you from moving forward.
No. So here's the thing too, like I will say this. Like you don't think that that's a big deal. I think it's a big deal because to some extent I will take things, number one, personally, because, to some extent business is personal, no matter what anybody says. And number two, business is tough. So, I will fly off the fucking handle. Like I'll fucking legit fly off the handle. And I've realized in my, 10, 12, however many years of being in business, or 15 years or whatever, how long, I don't even know how long, but I've realized it's probably not the best thing to do in business. And it's probably not but that's just not me. And I'm not going to sit here wasting time trying to change who I am when whatever I've done is effective. And it might be a factor of, because I fly off the handle, go into fucking savage mode, maybe I get the shit done quicker even, or maybe I'm more effective, right? Maybe I'm actually more effective in savage mode. I've had multiple people tell me that I thrive in chaos.
Probably true.
So
it's probably true.
So at the end of the day, I don't let chaos floor me or stall me. I'll just blast through the wall. And
I like this because there's no management book that you follow. And there's no book that I follow for anything really. I just develop my own strategy over time by burning and learning and burning and learning and burning and learning. And then you come up with your own thing. So just like with investing, people come in with this preconceived notion of how everything's going to go.
Now,
and then you get punched in the mouth. You're like, oh, wow, that book didn't help me.
Yeah, and sometimes when you get punched in the mouth, you got to fucking punch back. You don't just sit back and try to think, why did he punch me back in the mouth? No, motherfucker, I'm going to go punch you back in the mouth and I'm going to hit you fucking harder. That's what has to happen.
Any of this.
That's what has to fucking happen sometimes, right? Hypothetically speaking, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I thrive on. I thrive on that mentality. However, I did bring someone in. As you scale, it's important to realize your faults. Okay, that potentially is one of my faults. Is that
burn bridges?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say that.
You could.
It's when you get emotional like that. Sometimes I wouldn't even say emotional when I would. Yeah. Well, whatever. when you are in those kind of when you're in that kind of mindset, sometimes you're not of the clearest mind. Okay. Right. Correct.
100%.
So what I did do is I brought someone in that when shit is hitting the fan like that, that particular person is able to remain calm.
Bring some balance.
It brings balance. I'm fucking extreme. He's on the other end of it, right?
Yeah. And then you meet somewhere in the middle.
Exactly. And, I'm the type of person that I just fucking want to go, 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 go. And he's the type of person that's very methodical.
Yeah. Sit back, think this
exactly.
through.
So I'm pushing nonstop and he's providing a little bit of hesitation right? But it's a perfect medium because I'm pushing very fucking hard, but I'm pulling him harder than he's pulling back, but he's still being methodical.
It's a nice balance.
Exactly.
Because I'm like the guy on the left there, on your left.
Yeah.
Like I'm the methodical, think it through guy. Yeah. But I need somebody like you to propel me forward because I'll think too much, right? Like so finding that nice balance mix for you or anybody listening to this, and that's part of building your team, right? Like as you move forward.
Yeah, like I've done so many projects where I've gotten the thing like approved, and I'm just like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just like, fuck it, we're gonna learn on the way because I'm of the mindset that the people that have already done it aren't smarter than I am and aren't harder working than I am. So you better believe I'm gonna be able to do it. Mm-hmm. So
great mentality.
Yeah. So why the fuck can't I do it? Like why are all these people doing it and I can't have that? Or why can't I do that? I don't believe that. I don't believe anything that someone else can do that I can't. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, that's huge, man. So many people get knocked off. They get punched in the mouth once and they're done. They never invest again, or they never start a business again, and they just go back to their job and they're done.
Yeah.
So sum it up, man. What's your key takeaway here for especially newbies that are getting into the game or people that are just trying to get to the next level?
I honestly feel, a key takeaway should be stop overthinking everything. Stop overthinking. This shit is scary. It's extremely stressful. It's very difficult. You just have to break down the wall. You have to, or push through it. That's it. There's no secret. You just have to be the type of person to be willing to like punch the wall down. And that's fucking it.
Keep plowing through. Your skin will callous. You will develop it over time. You're not going to do it from a book. No. You're not going to do it from the sidelines.
No. And even I have read and I've listened to enough books where they tell you all these techniques and all this other shit, and I'm just like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me.
Imagine me reading a boxing book, stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like I'm gonna get destroyed.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes you just need to be punched in the fucking face to feel what it feels like.
Yeah,
and that's
if you're gonna try to get to that Mike Tyson level, then you're gonna have to work your way up and fight some lower battles
for sure,
and develop that skill in the ring and not on the sidelines and not in the books.
100%. And another thing that I would say is take your physical fitness serious.
Love it too. Yeah,
very serious. Like, because that will build. It'll allow you to build thick skin, dedication. Dedication and perseverance is also extremely important.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily about the outside; it's about the inside, right? What does it take for you to develop internally discipline, confidence?
Yeah, think about what that'll teach you. If you're that disciplined where you have a physical goal, a physical fitness goal, it's every day. It's every day for arguably the better part of a year. That's tough. That's not easy. That's really a long time.
Like a job, right? You got to eat properly. You got to do this.
Exactly. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the reason why I relate physical fitness to business so much is because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it takes an enormous amount of dedication, and not even just dedication that's like, hey, I'm going to set my alarm for fucking 6 a.m. It's like strenuous dedication. Like you're in the gym or you're doing this, busting your ass. Like I fucking hate working out. Like I fucking hate it. But I love the results of it. So it's extremely difficult. And that's why I relate it to business, because they're both extremely difficult. They're both long games. They're both a long-term game. And they take an enormous amount of dedication.
Huge.
So that's why I relate them so much, so closely.
Love it. Trigger.